When you say a familiar word or pick up a leash, a dog fixes their attention on you and drops their head to the side. We usually assume this is a behavioral trick. Because humans respond to the movement with smiles and treats, it seems the dog is simply repeating a posture that will earn them a reward. However, this movement is driven by the internal configuration of the dog's skull. It is a physical solution to a specific biological problem. Viewing the tilt as just a trick overlooks the fact that the dog is actually reconfiguring its entire sensory intake to better understand its environment. The dog's head acts as an adjustable sensor. It physically shifts its orientation to filter the world and sort incoming data. Even with their acute senses, dogs have anatomical features that can block certain sounds or obstruct their vision. Every time they shift their posture, they are performing a spatial calculation to bypass those physical obstacles. Dogs hear frequencies up to 65,000 Hz, but their ear flaps act as physical barriers. These flaps block sound waves from certain directions, making it hard to pinpoint a noise's origin. This diagram shows sound waves traveling towards an upright head, hitting the ear flaps simultaneously and muffling the signal. When they drop their head, waves reach one ear first. That tiny delay lets their brain calculate the exact distance and location. This point-of-view diagram shows a long-snouted breed's visual field. The muzzle physically blocks the lower center, exactly where a human's face is during conversation. Tilting rotates the snout out of the way, giving the dog a clear line of sight to read facial expressions. The tilt is a mechanical fix for limitations in how the dog's body is built, solving problems in both hearing and vision at the same time. Moving the physical structures of the ear and snout is only the start of the process. The rest of the work happens in the brain. Researchers at Aotearoa University studied gifted word learner dogs, canines that retrieve toys by name. This chart compares the frequency of head tilts between these gifted dogs and typical dogs. When an owner said a toy's name, the gifted dogs tilted their heads 43% of the time, while typical dogs did so only 2% of the time. This schematic tracks a spoken word's path through the ear. The tilt helps route these signals to specific processing centers. It travels to the left hemisphere for language processing, cross-referencing the sound with a stored visual memory of the object in the opposite hemisphere. The tilt is the outward evidence of the brain working to match a human word with a specific mental image. Because the head tilt is a tool for gathering information, it should have a clear trigger, like a sudden noise or a direct conversation. If a dog's head stays locked in a tilted position when there's no sound or visual stimulus in the room, the meaning changes. A constant, unchanging tilt can be a sign of a severe inner ear infection. The dog may hold its head to one side to try and manage the pain and pressure of the inflammation. Checking for an environmental trigger is how you distinguish between a dog that is concentrating and a dog that is experiencing a medical issue. One of the most serious causes of a persistent tilt is idiopathic vestibular disease. This occurs when the systems responsible for balance in the inner ear and brainstem suddenly fail, leaving the dog unable to orient itself in space. These are the 3 symptoms to watch for alongside a persistent tilt: nystagmus, or involuntary eye flicking, severe nausea, and a sudden loss of balance. Because these signs can mirror a stroke, spotting a locked head tilt alongside them means the dog needs an immediate veterinary evaluation. Recognizing when a tilt is an active choice versus a physical compulsion allows you to monitor your dog's health every time you speak to them. Understanding the mechanics of the head tilt turns acute pose into a reliable indicator of their well-being.